Other YouTubers are trying to tell young men like you to give up. They say that the game is rigged against you. You'll never be as financially successful as your parents. You'll never meet a good woman, and you'll never raise a beautiful family. This kind of content makes me sick. Not only because it's completely useless information, but because it's completely untrue. The problem is, a lot of people are trying to live the same life as people did 50 years ago. Men in their 20s are romanticizing the days when you could work as a bus driver, keep your woman at home even though she was unhappy, and then cash in your pension when you retired. But why would you want to live like that? Instead of trying to play a game that is dead and gone, open up your mind to the possibilities of the modern world. In this video, I will show you why 2024 is going to be the greatest year to be a young man in 5 different aspects of your life, from making money to finding love. This video is meant to be positive, uplifting, and encouraging. So I hope it gives you a boost going into the new year and you can make 2024 the best you possibly can. But it all begins with your mindset. So let's start with finances. Here's how you're going to make more money than your parents ever did. We are the first generation that can make money online, which opens up so many opportunities that never existed before. Before, money making was like this. You had a W-2 job, you were restricted by time-related pay rises, and you had a pension that you had very little control over. If you wanted to start a business, you had a lot of physical startup costs, which would be things like paying rent, buying inventory, and advertising on radio and in magazines. These days, if you want to be an employee, you have access to remote jobs. That means you don't have to move to expensive cities like New York or San Francisco to accept a high-paying job and build your career. For example, I'm a W-2 employee making slightly over the average salary. A few years ago, I would have had to live in New York to have this job, but nowadays I don't. If I wanted to, I could move to a state with a low cost of living, like Texas, pay 0% state income tax, and buy a large family home. God, I get so bricked up talking about zero income tax. You could even earn an average salary and live like a king by moving to a country with a lower cost of living, but more on that later. With the money that you earn from your job, you have unlimited opportunities to invest with zero barrier to entry. In previous generations, only the sons and daughters of the super rich were educated in investing in stocks, real estate, and creating multiple income streams. Now you can get all of the financial education you need literally on YouTube. You can buy and sell stocks on your phone without the need for a broker or any of the barriers that used to exist. And thirdly, this is the big one, you can start your own online business. Whether that's dropshipping, affiliate marketing, content creation, or something else entirely, there are a lot of advantages to starting an online business. Most importantly, the startup costs are extremely low. You don't need to rent a property or buy tons of inventory. Advertising on social media is cheap and you can test things effectively. If an idea doesn't work, you can scrap it and move on to the next one. Another thing I love about online businesses is that no niche is too small. Look at how many successful YouTube channels there are about classic men's style. As online businesses, they are far more successful than the small number of men's style magazines like Esquire and GQ. And these magazines would never survive if they catered to such niche communities as the ones that exist online. As I mentioned, when it comes to getting a good financial education, you can learn basically any skill you need online for absolutely free. Here's how you're going to learn any skill you need in 2024. Whether you want to play the guitar, trade options, or become a magician, there is an online course that will show you exactly how. And I have experienced myself how an online course can be so much more effective than a college education. I majored in journalism and they spent 3 years trying to teach me how to use the software Premiere Pro, which is exactly what I'm using to edit this video now. But I could never get the hang of it. The teaching went at a pace that I couldn't keep up with, and there were far too many students in the class for the tutors to come and help us one-on-one. The real way I learned how to edit was with YouTube tutorials. I just followed what the people were doing in those videos and copied it exactly, and it cost me nothing. Now, I'm not saying that going to college is worthless or that an in-person education doesn't have value, but you have so many opportunities to learn new skills online that previous generations never had. And video learning is so much more effective than textbooks, which is literally how our parents had to learn stuff. Imagine trying to learn Spanish with a book rather than with Duolingo. I hope that you have a new hobby that you're going to try in 2024, and I know the internet will have the resources you need to learn that skill. Now, I know this next one is going to be controversial, but here is why dating is better in 2024 than it was for our parents. I understand there are some downsides to dating apps, but we are being spoiled if we don't talk about the upsides. This is the first time in human history where we've had unlimited access to potential partners at our fingertips. A woman's dating app profile gives you a good overview of what kind of person she is, whether she's your type, or if you have common interests. This is very powerful for you if you know what you want, and it's so much more effective than old-fashioned dating tactics like speed dating, going to a singles bar, or asking a friend to set you up. Personally, I met my beautiful girlfriend Augustina on Tinder within a few weeks of getting the app. There were some things about her that immediately stood out to me as being the kind of woman that I wanted to know. You know, my girlfriend just overheard me saying this, and she said that a lot of guys, when they're using these apps, they're just focusing on the pictures and they don't spend enough time reading the bios and getting to know a bit more about the girl before they swipe and talk to her. But with Augustina, it's unlikely that we would have ever crossed paths in the real world. Because before dating apps, our access to potential partners was limited by our own social circle. A lot of men could benefit from taking their dating app game more seriously. That involves getting some high quality photos, putting some thought into writing a funny and engaging bio, and even paying for the premium version of these apps. An old-fashioned dating agent would charge you so much more than a premium Tinder subscription for basically the same results. And if you're nervous or not sure what to do on a date, there are millions of videos out there to give you advice. Although some of these are terrible, I would say look for channels where it's actually women giving the advice, not men telling you what they think women think. Now, one of the greatest things about being Gen Z is that we have more opportunities to explore and travel the world than any generation before. In previous decades, global travel and the potential to live in different countries was reserved for the 1%. Now, more and more young people are realizing the power of geo-arbitrage. It sounded so posh when I said that. Now, more and more young people are realizing the power of geo-arbitrage. This is where you make your money in a strong currency like dollars, and you spend it and live somewhere that has a lower cost of living. If you have a remote job or you've discovered how to make money online, then you can go and live somewhere like Thailand or Costa Rica and live like a king. And these places look like literal paradise. Personally, I'm experiencing a bit of this right now because I'm working remotely and working on this channel while living for the month in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And my girlfriend and I are able to take Ubers everywhere, eat every meal out, and go out for cocktails without spending more than about $50 a day. Even if you prefer to keep your home base in the US, international flights are so much more accessible and affordable than they were before. And it's possible to find affordable long-term accommodation away from the constraints of hotels thanks to Airbnb. My final point is one that I don't think many of us appreciate about our current generation, and that's our awareness of health and fitness. There are so many young men and women of our age who are in excellent physical condition. In fact, 87% of Gen Z people work out 3 or more times a week. There are gyms everywhere, and you can literally get a 24-hour fitness membership for $10 a month. So the barrier to entry has never been lower. If you want to learn how to get in shape, there are endless videos on YouTube showing you how, and you can even download free workout plans telling you exactly what to do depending on your starting point and your goals. When it comes to your diet, modern food in the US gets a bad reputation, but it is so much better than it was in previous decades. We have so much more knowledge than before about what is good for you and how to prepare healthy, low-cost meals at home that won't take a lot of time. And if you don't want to cook, there are so many more healthy fast food options than before. You could literally eat every meal at Chipotle and have a six-pack. And we have so much more awareness about what goes into unhealthy foods like McDonald's. So it's easier than before to choose not to do that. And finally, Gen Z has turned its back on excessive alcohol consumption more than any generation before. In fact, 27% of Gen Zers never drink alcoholic beverages. I like a drink myself now and then, but we all know it's not good to drink in excess. I'm glad that our generation is turning its back on drinking beer after beer and excessive wine and spirits. which not only cause you a myriad of health problems, but they also just make you fat. So between the increased popularity of exercise, awareness about healthy foods, and a decreased drinking culture, Gen Z has all the potential to be the healthiest generation of all time. Now, I know that being Gen Z is not always perfect. Each generation comes with a unique set of opportunities and a unique set of challenges. But a lot of what you see on social media emphasizes the downsides and does not encourage you to look at the positives and your potential. So I hope this video has left you feeling optimistic and hopeful about 2024 and what you can achieve as a young guy. Let me know in the comments one thing that you appreciate about being born in your generation. Happy New Year, and I look forward to sharing our successes in 2024 together.